If you've been wondering if you're actually on the right path because life has been feeling kind of mundane right now, then this video is for you and I'm glad you found it. You're not necessarily behind, nothing is inherently wrong, but you're likely just in the phase and the part of your story right now where the roots are just taking their place. Things are really just getting grounded in order for your desires to manifest in divine timing, for one, but in a way that you're actually able to recognize them when they arrive. And of course, this takes knowing what you're manifesting, what you're desiring, what you're calling into your life, but also knowing what the evidence of your manifestations actually looks like. And I think we're conditioned to look for huge signs and evidence of our manifestations in reality, or that our manifestations are actually working in the form of a job or a partnership, money, more followers, a house, the changes in your body, or some type of breakthrough. But sometimes the evidence is actually a little less loud and noticeable. And it's in the small things that we can see our roots taking their place. So, what does that look like? You're being more disciplined. You're making different choices. You're tolerating less. You're saying no more, saying yes to yourself. And you're just thinking differently. You're approaching life with a new lens. And I'm here to tell you that that is progress too. So I saw this quote on Threads yesterday that said, "Nobody has ever called a plant lazy for growing slowly." And that hit home for a couple reasons because I actually have a tattoo that says, "Love me slowly." I got it when I was 18 years old. So over 10 years ago. And I feel like I've always been like a slow burn, a late bloomer, if you will. I just take my time to really materialize things, but also conceptualize and for a long time internalize things. But that's just the way things work for me. And I think it's because I have a lot of Saturn placements. So things take a little bit longer. There's more lessons in my approach to life and just attaining new things. It's like a maturity that is growing over time. But it also hit me because I'm like, dang, I really don't give myself enough credit because I feel like a lot of times I look for those big signs, just like I was saying, like, a huge amount of followers or surplus. But I forget to look at the fact that 20 people are watching my videos every week. That's what you call community. And I also want to thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in. But that's big. As someone who has been scared to share their message before or scared to just share their voice, knowing that people are liking my videos or even coming across them in their explore page is honestly really, really cool. And I should give myself more credit because my younger self would be so proud that I kept picking up the microphone, picking up the camera, and sharing what I had to say. Starting something new or doing something you've never done before is already scary enough. And it is a big feat in itself. And it's like, why do we feel like we have to keep checking for the blossoms or the little seedlings from our garden to grow? I think we should allow ourselves to grow without constantly demanding proof that what we're doing is working. And just because things might be moving slower doesn't mean that they're not moving at all. And definitely not that we're lazy. I think when you're passionate about something, that fire is what helps you to decide your next move and to intuitively know what's next or how often you need to be doing something, how locked in you need to be, how consistent you need to be. And it's not always about the instant gratification. I feel like we get into a lot of that with this culture that we're in, this day and age, because we see a lot of highlight reels, we see a lot of success stories, but we don't see how long it took these individuals to get where they are when we're scrolling on our Instagram and we see millionaires or people with, six figures worth of followers and a cult following. They didn't just get there in one day. And a lot of times you also have to ask yourself is if that's even what you want because sometimes we think we want to go viral, but there's a lot that comes with that. And maybe it's not virality that you want, maybe it's just a consistent group of people who you can communicate with and connect with online. So it's eclipse season, and we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces coming up. And I think that we romanticize eclipse season a lot, or there's this misconception that something huge is going to happen, a door is going to open, or like a manifestation that you've been waiting on finally arrives. Everything in your life suddenly makes sense. And yes, that can be the case because there are a lot of planetary changes at play, and not just eclipse season, there's other transits that are occurring. But I feel like eclipse season is actually a better time just to take stock of your life because a lot of what happens, like I said in my last video, is really at the hands of the universe. Fate is at play here, so there's not much that you can actually control. And as I'm filming this, I just learned that Dolly Parton passed away today. Like things like that we least expect. That's normally what happens in eclipse season. And for me, it's come in a lot of realization, aha moments about myself and how I perceive myself because my seventh house is Leo and the first eclipse was in Leo. So it's just been like this awakening of a side of myself that I haven't really been able to see because that seventh house can sometimes be like your shadow self of how people see you in relationships. So a lot of time how we come off. I know the 12th house is kind of like your shadow side too, but the seventh house can have that aspect as well. I'm not going to get too deep into the astrology, especially not into my personal placements, but I say all that to say eclipse season kind of shows us what needs to change, what needs to end. So if something really feels like it's just not working, a relationship, a job, your car, some means of livelihood, there could be some changes that need to occur so that things can run more smoothly in your life. Also, what needs to be released. So, if it is the relationship that's not working, maybe it's time to finally let it go or finally free yourself from some type of obligations that aren't serving you, even if that's just in the form of people pleasing or putting others' needs before your own. Have you outgrown a certain person, certain habits? Do you feel like now it's time to pick up a more healthy routine, whereas you've been really lackadaisical in the past? Virgo does actually ask us to focus on our health, so that definitely could be something you're focusing on now. Just because you're clearing space doesn't mean that thing is going to appear tomorrow. Sometimes this period of destruction is really just preparation for that next chapter, that next blessing, or what you've really been asking for to make its way through. So it's Virgo season and things are getting real practical. Virgo season is literally like, okay, all this is beautiful. You've really just shined and had your time to be outside in Leo season. And now it's like, okay, but what's next? Like, what are you actually doing? It's time to get real. So, not just I want this or I want it, but also what does the person who has it actually have to do? So, if you want better health, what habits actually support that? If you want a successful YouTube channel, are you actually posting? If it's financial freedom that you're trying to call in, what are you doing with your money? Where is it going? What have you been spending it on? If it's a new career, are you developing new skills to get yourself there? If it's a healthier relationship, are you communicating differently or seeking therapy perhaps? And if you're looking for just a more peaceful life, it's time to take stock of what you're actually participating in. And that's where the real embodiment takes place. And it's no longer just manifestation. And I feel like Virgo season is perfect for that, of really getting into the energy of what it is you're trying to step into or that you are stepping into. Because we're not trying, embodiment is literally doing the thing. So you're not just visualizing the life, you're actually becoming the person that's capable of living it. And that's really powerful. And like I mentioned in my last video, I really am trying to show up on YouTube and post as many videos as I can for 90 days. And this is a part of me building something that's really important to me, an online community that I can connect with consistently. But I'm not waiting until I have 100,000 subscribers or the perfect setup, the perfect lighting, or even the perfect strategy before I actually start being consistent with posting because trust me, I've done that in the past so much. I started my first YouTube, I think in 2016. That was 10 years ago. I've been on this particular platform for about 6 years on this YouTube channel, but this is the most consistent I've been in years. So I'm becoming that person who shows up consistently. And that's the work for me right now. I'm done escaping it. And I feel like that is really part of that Pisces lunar eclipse of let's get real and let's stop escaping like Pisces can tend to do, escaping reality. Let's just face what we need to do to get where we want to be. Even with my health, I feel like I'm reframing the restriction of having to eat certain things and really just reminding myself that the transformation is going to happen just because I had one appointment or blood work and had this diagnosis. It's really going to be in the little choices that I'm making over and over again. And I think starting with this eclipse season, we're going to start to see this collectively even more. I know 2026 has been crazy politically, globally, but I think that we're all ready for something new. And I think the United States is definitely ready to build something new out with the old, right? But sometimes that takes destruction, like I said, and dismantling. So that takes systems being questioned. And I think for the first time, a lot of people are questioning their alliances, what organizations they're affiliated with, and even if it even aligns with their values anymore. Thank God. Old beliefs are being challenged. I think a lot of people are also having rifts maybe in their family and relationships because there are people who support racism in their family. And that is a hard reality to face. But I'm so glad that these times are coming, that these times are here to change and revolutionize things, to shake things up so that we collectively realize that the way things have been going is not going to work any longer. And it can feel really chaotic because destruction doesn't always feel like progress. And sometimes it looks like I can't do this anymore. This isn't working for me. I don't believe in this anymore. Or I just simply don't want this anymore. And that's collectively, but also personally in our individual lives. So, what's our job right now? What's the most revolutionary thing we can do? It's just to plant the seeds. And I think these three questions will help you to determine maybe what seeds you need to be planting. The first question, what am I building right now? And then ask yourself, what habits would the version of me who has this life have? And then lastly, what can I do consistently, even if I don't see results yet? And after that, just leave it to the universe, leave it to God. Don't worry about what's going to bloom today, right now, tomorrow, even. Our jobs is not to force the timeline. We're just simply becoming, like I always say in my podcast, we're healing so that we can become, so that we can rebirth ourselves. It's not really all about destruction and loss. It's the rebirth. You can reframe it in that way. You're not necessarily starting over, you're being reborn. So if your life feels mundane right now, don't underestimate it or write it off as being a destructive time in your life or a waiting season, because you might not actually be watching your life fall apart. You might just be watching the roots take place so that you're on a firm foundation the next time you look up. So that's all I have for today. I again hope this eclipse season is treating you well. Let me know in the comments how it's going for you. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Audio Jungle.